Hey guys, and welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be reviewing the fourth item that I'm doing a review on from my August BoxyCharm box. And as you already know from the title, it is these Moda Pro brushes. So as I usually do, I'm going to be talking a little bit about the company. I'm going to be talking about the product. I am then going to be showing you how I have been using these brushes. I currently have my base makeup on, foundation, concealer, or powder, but I don't have any blush, eyeshadow, contour, highlight, which is why I'm looking a little flat right now, but we will get to that. So what I'm going to do is put timestamps down below so you can skip to whatever part of this video that you want to watch. And I'm going to start just before getting into talking about this company with a little bit of a channel update. So there are a few things that are going to be changing over about the next week or so, and I think they are all good changes, fingers crossed, but great, I have the hiccups. That's gonna be helpful. So I think they're gonna be good changes. Basically, if you've noticed over the last couple of months a little bit of maybe variations in lighting, things like that in my videos, it's because with going back to working from like 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. kind of thing, I find I'm either filming early in the morning when it's not quite bright out, or later on in the evening when the sun is either down all the way or kind of in an awkward position in the sky. All that to say that I've been relying quite a bit on natural lighting, and it's just been kind of an issue now that I don't have a more flexible schedule. So what I have done is I have ordered off of Amazon some lighting and a background. So this may not be the background that you're seeing a lot from now on. I actually prefer when people have like real backgrounds instead of a backdrop cloth or a solid color. And I would like to do that at some point in the future. I just don't think that I have the time to right now. And thinking about the setup of my apartment here, there's not really a great place to have like a solid background. So all of this to say that I'm going to be playing around with some lighting. Things may look a little different. Hang in there, and I would love to have your feedback on things that are working, things that aren't working, as I get sort of the bugs sorted out. The second thing to say is that I have been playing around with my camera a little bit, and I think I have figured out how to take off the blurring face filter. So if you are seeing this right now, this is my actual skin without any filter, with foundation, which is looking a little cakier today than I would like it to look, but moving past that, I think from now on you are going to be seeing my real skin, which I prefer. You can see my freckles, you can see everything that goes on here, and I always found that the blurring filter made my eyebrows look funny. So hopefully this is all worked out properly. This camera actually comes set up with a blurring filter, and there were a few things I had to do to be able to turn it off. Okay. That's everything about that. Let's start talking about Royal and Langnickel and these Moda Pro brushes. So these are not the first, sorry, they're so soft, it's hard to not just keep touching them while I'm talking. These are not the first brushes that we've received in BoxyCharm from Royal and Langnickel. We did receive a trio of eyeshadow brushes previously. I'll just put that picture here so you remember them. And I do enjoy using those. I didn't do a review of them because I don't always find reviews of brushes to be that interesting, but these ones are a little unique, so I thought I would take the time to talk about them a little bit and how I've been using them. Royal and Langnickel, though, is a company that they manufacture brushes and brush accessories. What I thought was interesting is that if you dig a little bit into this company, they don't just create cosmetics brushes. They have one entire side of their company that is artistic brushes, art brushes, and then the other side is cosmetic. So you have a company that is very much focused on brushes. It's not a side business, it is what they do. They have more than 12 lines of beauty brushes, and it's a family-owned company that has been around for over 60 years. I'm going to provide a link down below to a website that I was reading when I was doing research for this video on Royal and Langnickel. It's a gentleman who works for the company who did an Ask Me Anything on Reddit about their brushes. And it was interesting to read through, seemed like a really great guy in terms of answering questions. Didn't get all the way through the thread, but if you're interested, I can link that below so you can read a bit more. But one of the things they talked about was that there was a question where someone said, you know, your brushes seem to be quality brushes, and there are other brushes out there that sell for a lot more. Is there really any difference in the beauty industry in pricing as far as standards go? So to word it another way, if you pay more, do you get better quality? And he said it's not always that way. Like, yes, if you have certain quality, it's going to be more expensive, but The reason they're able to keep their costs low is that they are the manufacturer of brushes. That is what they do. And they do brushes and maybe some accessories. Whereas in a lot of cases, you get cosmetics companies where their core business is making makeup, and then they also decide to have a line of brushes with that. So they are going through another manufacturer, so they have to pay that manufacturer, and then they sell it to you. So just because these brushes through Royal and Langnickel and the different lines they have are not very expensive, it does not mean that they are not the same quality as others that you might buy through cosmetics companies. Now, I think he was saying that there are different standards of quality that you are going to pay more for around the materials that it's made out of, but just because something costs more doesn't mean it's better. It's good to do your research. You can find Moda brushes, which is one of their lines that also has many brands under it, at Walmart. They have, I think people were talking about their oval brush set being a really affordable option as compared to some of the oval brushes that came out at first that were quite expensive. But today, let's get into talking about the brushes specifically that we received in our BoxyCharm subscription. These Moda Pro brushes are very new. They're actually not even released for sale yet. They're coming in the fall of 2017. So we did get a little bit of a preview here with this set. Now, they are still an affordable set, but they talk about a number of different features on here. So you get these very, very soft bristles that are synthetic. This is 100% vegan. So if you are a vegan, you don't need to worry about these being made from animal products. They are not. You then have the ferrule here, which is made of black aluminum, which makes it durable, they say. And then you get this sort of silicone grip here, which is textured, which gives it sort of a better feel in your hands. You don't feel like you're going to drop it. There's something to hold on to and grip to. And that is sort of the features of all of their brushes. So all of the Moda Pro brushes have the black ferrule. They are all not made from animal fibers, they're synthetic, and they all have this textured silicone grip. So the brushes that we received are a crease brush, a pointed blush brush, and then also a chisel brush. For some reason, that is a tongue twister for me to say. Don't know why. So let's get into applying makeup, and I'm gonna start with the eyes. So let me zoom you in a little bit closer so that you can watch the application with this brush. So I'm gonna be doing a very simple eye look today. I don't even really know what I'm gonna do yet, but I am going to be using my Yes Please palette from ColourPop, which I will have a review of that coming up soon, possibly Friday. I'm just trying to get the looks together that I want to do for it. But this is gonna be sort of a let's see what happens as I go kind of look. This is really the kind of brush that I like. I find for me, for my everyday going to the office looks, I can get it done with just this, because really my everyday look tends to be a 3-color situation. We'll see if that happens today. So I'm gonna start with this very neutral color and just sort of put that everywhere over the lid. At least on me, it's a very neutral color. Just sort of gives me a base for everything else to blend into. I'm going to touch very lightly into this matte brown, and I'm actually sort of concentrating the color on the side of the brush. So it's a pointed crease brush, but I'm kind of getting it on one side. So I'm not gonna go in straight like this. I'm kind of holding at the end here, so I have a light movement, and sort of using that edge to start filling in the crease. And then because it does have a point, I'm able to sort of bring it down into the corner of my lid at the front, or the inner corner, I should say. And then I kind of fan it up to blend it, and then touch back into the same color and bring it down a little bit onto the lid. If this is an everyday look for me, I'm just going for a very light shadow application. Next, to make it a little bit more fun, I'm gonna go into this more rusty brown color at the end, which is also a matte shade. And this does pick up quite a bit of color between these brushes and the ColourPop formula. It does pick up quite well with just sort of tapping in a little bit. And I'm going to use that to darken up the lid, sort of to about halfway, and then blend it up into that crease, but not quite as high as the other color was. Now with anything sort of left on there, I'm just very gently dragging the pointed tip a little bit under my eye just to bring the color down a touch. It's not the most precise thing in the world, but this is kind of a you have 15 minutes to do your makeup kind of look. And I mean all of it, not just the eye makeup. Then for my easiest look, I tend to always go into a shimmer kind of color or a satin with my finger because I really like how that applies. So I think this time I'm going to go into this really pretty gold that's here and just tap that on the inner part of my lid towards the outside and blend a little bit. And then back in with the brush to blend everything together. So there we go for the eyes. I'm just gonna pop away for a moment to put on some mascara to just get the eyes finished up. There we go, mascara added, and I've just put the tiniest bit of shimmer on the inner corners of my eyes just to set everything off. So this is a great brush. This really is the kind of brush that I like for doing quick eye looks because it gives me everything I need between the sort of pointed tip and the tapered part of it, and it's fluffy enough to do blending. This is going to be a go-to brush in my collection. Next, let's talk about this puppy. This is the chisel brush, and this is the one when I first looked at it, I thought, I am gonna get no use out of this brush. I tend not to contour. I have a very round face. So contouring, it's not something I really tend to do because I'm never gonna have a chiseled look. Like, I don't really have cheekbones, so I don't tend to do contouring. But for me, because I'm kind of a beginner at it, I like the fact that this almost gives me like a guideline. So let's talk about that. I'm going to show you what I mean here with a contour from a Smashbox palette that I have. And what I'm going to do is just get contour on the lowest part of this brush. So you see what I mean about I have the color sort of there. Now, if I do want to contour, this kind of gives me a guide because what I need to do is hug my cheekbone with this, and it's going to deposit the color just where I want it. So this is the highest part of my cheek right here. And there we go. I know it needs blending. So I can come in with this brush and really start to blend and buff that to where it needs to be to not look absolutely crazy. So I'll do it on the other side just to match them up. And there we go. As a non-contour person, this gives me enough of a guide where I don't feel like I'm placing it too low, which is often my problem. And it gives a shadow where there should be a shadow because it's doing it right where it wraps around the highest point of my face. Now I found there are two things that I really enjoy this brush for. So I'm gonna try to use sort of one side and then the other side to show you. I do enjoy this as a blush brush. This is so soft, and that is what it's meant to be. It's just, it's so soft. And because the bristles are sort of tapered like this, instead of sort of all being flat at the end, you can sort of drag this into your blush, and I'm using this really pink one that I've been enjoying lately, and then sort of put it on the apples of your cheeks and drag and blend, get that blush where you want it. There we go, some lovely color on my face. And for the very last thing that I'm super enjoying this brush for, I'm going to bring out a very bright highlighter. This is our Rodeo Drive Ofra Highlight. And what I find this is good for is it can give me a sort of blended, not too bright highlight, but still provides it. So you take a really bright highlight like this, I'm gonna use the side of my brush that I didn't use the blush for, and just sort of tap in there. And then, you know, up along the cheekbones, and it gives a nice subtle highlight from what is a very bright highlighter. Now, you could definitely build this up a little bit to make it much more highlighty, but for me, going to, you know, my office job, it just makes a bright highlight look much more natural. I'll just also... Now, because I'm doing this for a video and why not have a little bit more fun, I'm gonna build up the highlight a bit. Whew. Let's zoom back out and talk a little bit about my final thoughts. So my final thoughts on these brushes is I think they are a great value. They are soft, they pick up product well, they don't do anything funny in my opinion in terms of not blending. They are just beautiful and soft, and I can't stop touching the blush one. It's just, is just so nice. I think out of these 3 products, these are definitely the ones I'm going to use. This one, not really my thing, but if you are sort of a contour beginner and are having trouble figuring out where to place it, this could be a good friend for you in terms of sort of getting the placement right. I think it's also would be nice if you just want to figure out where to put your highlight. I have highlight all over right now. Basically, it's almost like this is where your contour goes, this is where your highlight goes, and right down the high point of your face, where your cheekbones are, gets everything where it's supposed to be. I'm gonna preface this by saying that I do not have any super expensive brushes, so I can't say these compare to, you know, those super high-end, maybe made with like luxury animal fibers, that kind of thing, but for the price that I am willing to pay for brushes, being a little on the cheap side, and how nice these are, I think these are definitely a buy. So I was super happy to get these in my BoxyCharm. I think we can never have enough crease and blender brushes. I mean, if you're like me and maybe you like to go a week between cleaning your brushes, it's always nice to have a new and fresh blender one to pull out to work on whatever eye look you're doing that day. And this is just, I find, quite versatile because of that pointed tapered shape that it has. I do hope that you enjoyed this video. Please let me know a few things. I have a few questions for you to answer in the comments. Ready? Ready to pay attention? Have you used these? Do you like them? Which one is your favorite? Have you used the chisel one at all? Is this something you're reaching for? That's my first question. Tell me everything about these brushes. For those of you who receive them in your BoxyCharm, do you agree with what I think? Do you have a totally different opinion? All of that. The next thing I want to know is, how does this video look compared to usual with the changes I made on the camera? I think it's still a little bit darker than I would like it to be, but that's gonna be fixed hopefully with my lights coming soon. So thoughts on that down below, and also just tell me how you are doing. I mean, we're coming into the last week of the summer in terms of people who are going back to school. Either they're going back to school, their kids are going back to school, back to university, whatever that might be. Tell me what's going on in your life, because I just love hearing from you guys. That is everything from me for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I have had a lot of fun making it, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Have a great day. Wait, also give it a thumbs up. Give it a thumbs up. Wait, and also all the other stuff I say at the end. What's going on with me? Subscribe by clicking on my face right here. I don't know what made me forget this part. And watch an old video of mine here, and give it a like. Give it a like. I always enjoy seeing those thumbs up come in. That's all. See you soon. Bye.